Hi guys, my name's Hannah, welcome back to my channel. I'm sorry for the switch up of rooms again, but someone in next door is drilling, or someone outside, and my window won't close. So I just filmed this video and all you could hear was this chainsaw going off. So I thought I'd sit in here because it's too cold to be down in the conservatory where I normally film. And plus there's a chair, and also my nephew has white walls, so maybe this looks better, I don't know. Anyway, let's get into the books that I read in February because I just filmed this, but we're going to persevere and go again. So the first book I read in February was 1984 by George Orwell, and I say mostly read just because I listened to the audiobook for the last half of it, because the book took me a month and a bit to read because nothing was going in. I had no idea what was happening. Literally halfway through this book I was like, I don't even know, I'm confused, I don't know what any of these words mean, and I felt really dumb. I felt really dumb reading it, so that's fun. But if you did not know where the term Big Brother came from, or comes from, what's the word, right English, comes from, it would be that Big Brother was mentioned by George Orwell in the book 1984. I did enjoy this once I stopped zoning out. Simply because I would, the last two chapters are 40 pages each, and I read them twice and absorbed absolutely nothing. And I think George Orwell's writing in this is very dense, and it's a bit, if you've never read classics before, I think you would find this hard to read just because it's so I had no idea what was going on. Maybe that makes me dumb, maybe it makes me a bit stupid, but anyway, that's the same, dumb and stupid are the same. Anyway, I gave this 3 out of 5 stars simply because it took me so long to read, and I also used a audiobook to finish it just because I literally was I've been reading this for an entire month and it's just getting a bit boring now and I wanted to finish it. So I read from page 227 to the end via a audiobook that's on YouTube. Would highly recommend that. So yeah, now I never have to read it again. Yay! The second book I read in February was The Chain by Adrian McNitty. I read this book in 48 hours. I absolutely loved it. It was one of my favourite books that I have read, favourite thrillers I've read since I read The Family Upstairs by Lisa Joelle. That was one of my favourite books last year, favourite thrillers. I simply could not put it down. This one essentially follows kidnapping. It's not definitely not for the faint-hearted. This is a very heavy topic of a book. Basically, a child gets kidnapped, and the only way to get your child back is to kidnap another child, and essentially this is the chain that formates itself, and it's a never-ending link that leads to some twists and turns. And I gave this book 3.5 out of 5 stars simply because I guessed the plot twist essentially before the end, and it didn't really surprise me. I think I maybe have a bit of a high expectation for thrillers to shock me in some way, and that's not happened since The Family Upstairs, so I don't know. I did really enjoy the author's writing though, and the chapters being so short that I read them in 48 hours. And I read this while I was watching rugby at the same time, and sometimes my brain is I cannot concentrate on more than one thing at once, but this book I was I need to know what's happening. And yeah, so I read it in 48 hours. Highly recommend Adrian McNitty's writing. I'm intrigued to see what else he has written. This one so much, but yeah, if you're looking for one that you simply cannot put down, highly recommend. The third book I read in February was The Minute I Saw You by Paige Toon. This is a rom-com, romance / comedy. That is what a rom-com is, Hannah. Yeah, this is The Minute I Saw You by Paige Toon. I read this book in 3 days, and essentially I think my speed of reading has got a lot faster. I don't know why I'm talking so fast in this video as well. I feel like I'm talking a million miles an hour just because I'm excited that I've read these books. Anyway, this book is essentially about a couple that are falling in love with each other, but they never really admit to it, and they both, each of them, Hannah and Sunny, both have a secret from their past that they aren't ready to talk about to one another, and you get to see their perspectives, or Hannah's perspective on her secret and Sunny's secret, and essentially it's how to be in a relationship with someone without the intimacy part being the forefront of you deciding if you're in a relationship or not. And essentially I found that part of this book really beautiful, because they got to know each other in a way which was just so much more lovely than immediately going all in, you know, going all in as it were. So you essentially find out that Sunny and Hannah both have a secret that they have hidden in previous relationships, and you follow the story of how they reveal their secrets to each other and how it affects their relationship and the relationships around all the people around them. Hannah is currently house sitting a house for her uncle, and she has a temporary job in an optician's, and that's how her and Sunny met. And Sunny is back and forth from Amsterdam, and you essentially find out why he goes to Amsterdam, etc. And you find out if they will or won't they. That's the question. And I would highly recommend this book if you just want something to take your mind elsewhere. And this book is set in summertime, and it really reminded me of just, you know, the summer when it's all nice and warm, you sit in a beer garden, hang out with your friends, and like, it's my favourite thing about going on dates. Like, me and my boyfriend, like, every time we went somewhere in summer, it would just be so much more fun. Anyway, off on a tangent. Anyway, highly recommend The Minute I Saw You by Paige Toon if you're after a romance. Lastly, the last book that I read in February was Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier. Oh my god, this is now my favourite classic that I have ever read. I can't articulate how much I loved this book. I took my sweet time reading it. I took like 2.5 weeks to read it because I wanted to absorb the story and really enjoy it and enjoy the characters, and not just feel like I've read it for the sake of getting it ticked off my to be read list. So if you haven't heard of Rebecca, maybe you live under a rock. But anyway, so this book just got made into a Netflix adaptation. I haven't read that. I haven't seen that yet. If you don't know what Rebecca is about, Rebecca is essentially a story that follows a new relationship between Mr. De Winter and his new wife, and they essentially are haunted by the ghost of Mr. De Winter's past wife, Rebecca. Like, it's not a twist that she's dead, like it literally says on the blurb, it says she's dead. So essentially you follow their relationship and how the new wife, Mrs. De Winter, she's never given a first name, so you never really know what her name is, but the perspective is that I felt like I was feeling all of her feelings that she was feeling. Like, she just wanted Mr. De Winter to show her some affection. Essentially, she would just sit in the room and he'd not really talk to her. She'd just be there and be like tolerating him. And the plot twist, oh my god, the plot twist, I wasn't expecting it, and it was the kind of plot twist that made me be like, oh, this is so good. I think I'm gonna have to add this to my favourite book that I've ever read. Because you follow how Mrs. De Winter lives her life in Rebecca's shadow and how that affects her emotionally. And essentially there's a woman in this book called Mrs. Danvers, and she essentially was like an absolute bitch to Mrs. De Winter, the new wife, not Rebecca. And you essentially find out all these reasons that Mrs. Danvers has essentially been acting as if Rebecca is still alive, and it's really like creepy. It's really creepy, but it's so good. And the plot twist, oh my god, I literally like was reading it. My boyfriend came in the room and I just sat there like, he was like, are you okay? And I was like, and then obviously we talked about the plot twist because he was like, I want you to finish this book so I can talk to you about it, and then we can watch the movie. But yeah, if you have a list of classics that you haven't read and you don't have Rebecca on it, I would highly recommend, just simply because of the plot twist. How many times am I going to say that in this video? Just because I feel like maybe not a lot of classics have the element of like a mystery, you know, and I love a good thriller, I love a good mystery, but a mystery thrown in with a classic, I loved it. 5 out of 5 for me. If I rated books more than 5 stars, I would give this 10 stars. I would highly recommend. Like, I love this book so much. Like, I've broken the spine, I've broken this book, I bought it. So anyway, yeah, essentially the books that I read in February. It's not a lot of books to a lot of people, I know that, but also for me to read 4 out of the 7 books I had on my February TBR, I think that's pretty good going. And I would highly recommend these books if you have not read them. But yeah, that's it for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Hopefully, fingers crossed, this lighting works and we have no issues. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and subscribe, and I shall see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!